he can tonight. It's going to slip away. Oscar Piastri led the championship longer than any other driver. He has to settle for second place. Lando Norris crosses the line, and for the first time in his racing career, he is Formula One champion of the world.
So it's happened. Are we really surprised? So yes, if you've probably already heard or seen about 50,000 posts of it if you follow F1 on Instagram, Lando No Shins has finally become Formula One world champion in front of Max Walk-em down Verstappen and Oscar de Pasti, winning by only 2 points. Fernando's getting PTSD just looking at the standings table. Going into Abu Dhabi, I did say Lando had an 80 or 70% chance of winning, and aside from a few moments in the race that made me almost want to jump into my grave, it went pretty much as well as anyone expected. Now, this wasn't the best season by Lando overall, not at all. He did leave a lot on the table, but hell, all 3 championship contenders had their moments, so all I can say is respect. He did what he needed to do, and it wasn't dominance or anything, but fuck, having Max Verstappen so close to you could sniff your arse crack for the smell of fear and closing in fast, defo isn't a bad thing to overcome. Also, by the way, if you hate Lando for not deserving the title or easily winning because he has the best car, well, welcome to Formula One. I think it's because a lot of people who are watching F1 now are so used to basically watching Max and Lewis win all their titles, which kind of supersedes the expectations for how world drivers' titles are actually won. Max and Lewis are debatably the top 3 drivers of all time, and as much as you think Lando didn't do enough or deserve it, not everyone can do what Max and Lewis did to win their titles. It's just not how it works. By the way, if you actually genuinely hate the way Lando won this year, you must also hate the way Jenson Button won in 2009. Easily the best car by a mile for the first half of the season, basically just running off into the distance, then he dropped off to hell towards the end. But I didn't see anyone say he didn't deserve it, or only won because he had the fastest car. So if you hate one and not the other, you're quite literally a hypocrite. In fact, if anything, you would actually hate Jenson's title more, seeing as how Lando actually has Oscar as a teammate, a dude who's quick as hell, young and in his prime, and Jenson had a 37-year-old Rubens Barrichello, 2 years off retirement and far past his prime. Now yes, I understand it can come across as a bit of a hyperbolic and even petty comparison, but I'm just trying to show off how people can come across as hypocrites. I hate to compare seasons and even champions, but it's just to relay that even similar stories like this are put miles apart. One is fundamentally liked, and another isn't. Now of course I'm not saying Brawn and even Jenson himself is a worse season and worse champion than Lando. It's one of the best comeback underdog stories of all time. It's just merely used to show perspective of things. Brawn built a fast car, Jenson brought it home. It was like that in 2009, and it's the same for Lando and McLaren in 2025. You just got to accept it, so please, shut your big cake hole about deserving a title. Most drivers don't win every race but 3 in a season. Most drivers didn't get a 100% podium rate. Most drivers didn't get 105 wins because most drivers aren't these drivers. And the more people, 1, come to accept that, and 2, look back at some old world champions that also wouldn't deserve it in today's context, the easier we can all get along. Fuck man, don't tell him about Keke Rosberg. That motherfucker won the title without even getting a victory that year. Wait. I would say I hope you're enjoying this video, but you clearly are, seeing as how you've got this far through. And if you are actually enjoying watching it, make sure to subscribe and like. I am incredibly close to 5,000 subscribers, and I really wanted to hit 10,000 before the end of the year. We don't have very long to go, so if you could help out, that would be extremely appreciated. It also says here that a whole 0% of you are subscribed. Remember those statistics, guys. They definitely don't lie. Okay, back to the video. So now moving into the race, and apart from, well, the race being Abu Dhabi itself, meaning basically nothing's going to happen, there were a few moments which stopped this race from being an absolute bore fest, gave Lando a bit of a scare, and also showed off the fact that Checo is actually a G. Now the first notable thing that happened I thought was genuinely going to be the first lap, but I also thought, well, Max is starting from pole position, so he can't dive bomb the air in front of him. So I'm pretty sure we're not going to get any crashes on the first lap. I definitely thought Oscar's not going to go for a move on Lando at the beginning, but he kind of got a sniff towards the end of the second corner, and then he genuinely got a great overtake near the end on that one corner that I said I hated in my last video. Why does it have to be the only place that a significant overtake happened on this track this year? And then the race just sort of went on as any normal race would, thinking when are people going to go for pit stops, wondering why Ferrari put Hamilton on softs at the beginning, even though it did pay off in the end, and then just having Max in first, kind of having the gap that he needs, then having Oscar kind of having a gap that he needs to Lando, and then Lando getting absolutely rimmed by Leclerc for like 15 laps before he finally puts a gap in. One thing that I didn't know about this race for starters, and obviously no one would know, was the actual tactics that were going to be deployed, not only by Max, seen as how he is his one-man team, as opposed to Tsunoda being so far back, meaning he can't help him actually back people up, was the actual tactics that McLaren themselves would take. Would they make Oscar give up position for Lando if he needed it? Would they be sharing information about pit stops? Would Lando be able to undercut Oscar if he really wanted to? Are they communicating like that? I didn't really know. But the one thing I was really confused as, especially at one point in the race, I can't remember specifically when, was why didn't Max try backing anyone up? It kind of seems like they both just sort of gave up the title here and just wanted to get the best race result, which, I mean, fair, but come on, guys. I mean, okay, I get Oscar, seeing as how he practically needed a miracle to happen to win, not only the race, but it all. But Max? Damn. I think he genuinely just said, fuck this, and gapped the field by like, what, 17 seconds there at the end, and just wanted to get the best race result. He didn't even try to back Lando up into Leclerc, which is kind of crazy considering Leclerc wasn't that far back when Max first pitted. I'm pretty sure Max pitted from the lead, came out just ahead of Lando and Leclerc was only like 2 seconds behind Lando. If Max backed Lando up into Leclerc, considering he was on fresher tyres and Leclerc wasn't giving up, he was basically the only person in the race that could keep pace, Leclerc could have had a chance on Lando, then pitted, covered it off, and then it would have been a genuine title fight at the end, meaning Max just has to finish first, which he was on track to do anyway, considering he won by so much, meaning he had a larger gap. But also, he could, it was something. It was something he could have done. It just, like, why didn't he do anything? Even as someone who didn't want Max to win, I was just like, why is he not doing anything? He's literally just driving off into the distance and forgetting this world championship exists. Do a Nico Rosberg. I know we said it's harder to do now because there used to be a lot more slow corners than there are now. That one fucking sweeping left. I just don't get it, man. He could have done something, but guess not. And that's the other thing I found extremely funny about this race. The dude literally known for the Lando, we can be world champion, I said, was the one dude who could have actually stopped Lando from being said world champion, I said. Charles, for real, was one of the only people to make this race interesting, and damn, was there a point where he was like 0.6, 0.4 seconds behind Lando, and I seriously thought he was going to take him. But alas, it never came. The only other way that Max was even going to get a sniff at the title, seeing as how he was just going and doing his own thing, was Yuki Suicide Noda. But unfortunately, Yuki didn't exactly put on his best Sergio Perez impression, but rather made like that one video of that police car trying to stop traffic by swerving erratically. I know what to do, so leave me. Alright, Kimbo Raikkonen, slow down, you might kill a seagull. Seeing Yuki's defense was one of those times I just straight up thought Norris was gonna die. The build up to that moment was so intense. Like, I saw Yuki had stayed out, and I knew exactly why. They showed the gap from Lando slowly closing, and then when he came on the TV and was so close, I was just like, oh my god, it's happening. I mean, if I knew how bad he was actually going to be at defending Lando, I wouldn't have worried so hard, but the moment did get me genuinely jumping off the settee, thinking Lando was about to get shadow rammed into the barriers by kamikaze Tsunoda himself. Fast forward, Yuki gets a penalty for driving like a drunk pensioner and pushing Lando off. Lando got investigated for overtaking off the track, but it was overruled because Yuki caused him to go off the track, and that was the end of that. And then, pretty much nothing happened. Oscar stayed out for some reason, and then Max basically caught up to the back of him, then Oscar pitted. Still finished second though, but I don't really understand what they were going for there. Maybe making a call for the safety car, so if they did have something happen, he could have been in first. But even then, I don't understand what they were really trying to do. I know they can't really sabotage Lando, but what did Oscar want to happen? He wanted to win the race, I guess. Maybe he'd given up on the position at that point and didn't really care about the championship, but man, it was such a weird race. I feel like if Leclerc was actually faster and then didn't go to like, I think it was like 6 or 7 seconds. I swear to God, I didn't even do that on purpose. Leclerc was like 6 or 7 seconds behind at the end. And I think that if he was a bit more competitive throughout the race and kept pace, it would have been an almost opposite of 2010 situation, which, once again, my boy lost, so I don't really want to talk about. Yeah, so Alonso in 2010 tried to pass Petrov, but because of how shit this track is, he didn't pass Petrov.
Why are you crying?
And this way would have been the other way around. As opposed to someone needing to overtake someone to get the World Championship, it would have been where someone would have had to overtake someone, so he loses the World Championship. And it had that sort of vibe towards the beginning, and then it just sort of fizzled out. So yeah, Lando World Champion. I really don't, you know when you just say it out loud and you're just like, wow. It's just so weird to say, Lando Norris World Champion. And to think he's one of 35 people, 11 British drivers, who have won it, I don't really know what to think. Going into next year is going to be incredibly weird, considering the fact there's a regulation change and anything could happen. When I say anything could happen, I seriously doubt anything will happen. It'll most likely be Ferrari, Mercedes, Red Bull, and McLaren, like it has been for the past 30 years. Not really any changes there. But I also think that it could be a really good time for some teams to build up a good attack. Audi and Cadillac, I doubt are going to be very good at the beginning of 2026. Once again, we'll see, because testing isn't even that far away, but it's famously been very, very difficult for teams to come into Formula 1 and then do really well. Haas is actually one of them teams that wasn't the status quo, which is weird now looking back at the fact that Haas did well on their first season and now they're God knows where they are, but Haas hit the ground running when they bought their chassis off Dallara in 2016. Seeing as how Cadillac have to hire everyone, build a car from scratch, well, start a new team, as opposed to Audi, who are taking over Sauber, who are themselves kind of a shit team, means that I think Audi will just be a tidgy bit better than Cadillac, but those people, I suspect, will be at the back with Haas, who are going to be sponsored by Toyota next year as a main title sponsor, so it's going to be extremely weird going from this year, where you've got Sauber and Haas, and then there's only 10 teams, and there's 20 drivers, and next year there's going to be 22 drivers, there's going to be 11 teams, you're going to have Toyota, you're going to have Audi, you're going to have Cadillac, you're going to have Ford with Red Bull, Honda with Aston Martin. It's all going to go down. There's plenty of stuff that are going to be coming next year, but we've got to wait until next year, I guess. Final thoughts then. I kind of feel bad for Max Verstappen out of everyone, because he did more than I think I've seen anyone do in any championship fight in my life, I can remember anyway. There's obviously been things that have happened in, like 2007, for example, when Kimi won it, but I was 5 years old and I don't remember that happening. Fuck, I barely remember what happened last week. I have a bad habit of forgetting everything because I did a lot of drugs in university. Bringing it down from a 103 points gap to only losing the championship by 2 points must be absolutely heartbreaking. I think the only thing you can take away from this is the solace that he already has 4 world championships. If you lost your first championship like that, it would be absolutely heartbreaking and is akin to kind of how Lewis Hamilton lost his first in 2007. It would have been worse then. But for Oscar Piastri, goddamn. In a way, I feel sorry for him the most as well, but in a different kind of way. Max Verstappen, yes, he lost by 2 points and came back from a massive points deficit, but Oscar, man, you led this season for so long, bro. What are you doing? How did he manage to lose it, man? And it's not even the fact that he lost the title, it's the fact he came third by I think it was 14 points or something like that. Crazy. Okay, it was 13, but my point still stands. No changes in the constructors, like I theorized there could have been last video. As I said, it was a long shot, and Aston Martin only lost to Racing Bulls, aka Toro Rosso, by 3 points, and I did say they could have done it, and they were only 12 points, I think, behind at that point. So, to be able to bring it to 3 points, that's pretty good. I think Lance came 10th, so he got 1 point, and then Fernando came 6th, so they did bring it down, but unfortunately, Haas and Sauber were much the same, but Sauber were never going to catch Haas, and they actually had a pretty good race, both Ali and Esteban. Esteban woke up at the end there, and I have no idea how he got so high up, but, we'll give it to them. So yeah, no change in the constructors, meaning that Alpine, bear in mind, they did say they wanted to be leading the title fight by the end of the regulations. Last. A fun fact, well, it's not fun for Alpine, but they could have literally had 3 teams of themselves and they still would have come 10th because they got 22 points. Sauber have got 70. 3 of them would have been 66 points. They still would have come last by 4 points. Thank you for coming to my presentation. So yeah, that's the end of the year. It's going to be a hell of an amazing year next year, and I'm sorry that I wasn't here for most of this year, But damn, every year is another year, and I cannot wait for 2026 to come. I said the same thing about the 2022 regulations, and though it was a massive change from the old regulations, I feel like the regulations didn't seem to work after about a year and a half. Sort of like midway late of 2023 where we decided to sort of move on from these regulations and really want the next ones to come along. The initial thing with them was they can follow close, but then it just got even worse, and I'd argue that the dirty air got as bad as it was, but now you couldn't even slipstream people down straight, so I'd argue that towards the end of 2021 was actually better than the end of this year. It's actually crazy to think that this many years have gone this fast, and not only that, but we're losing DRS as well, meaning we've lost many a thing, including Yuki Tsunoda, Sauber, DRS itself, these regulations, ground effects, all that, and we're going to be getting something completely different next year. The only thing I take solace in now is knowing that Aston Martin could actually give Fernando Alonso a good car, Ferrari SF25 is finally in the bin, and we might actually see a smile on Lewis Hamilton's face again. My name is Frosty, thank you for watching, and I do have an outro. Bye!